ability again from Valkyrie, keeping targets up. As Ragnaros landing a 4-man Valkyrie smash. Durance of Hate from Mephisto, and this combination executed perfectly at the end of the game.
From Alarak. Make it a quad kill set up by that ETC.
Wow, did you see that mosh pit? 4-man mosh pit while on a conveyor belt. That was like a regular sushi line.
Nubarak, core at 50%. Both cores are just absolutely melting. Which one's going to go down first? I think this is going to be Respect the Gooses. Oh my goodness.
Ring. Oh my goodness, the ring. Jaina just pulling up everybody here. That's a 4, make it 5.
And it does knock them all up. What a play! Oh my God! Somebody please clip that.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the Nexus Gaming Series. It's Heroic Division. I'm Arrow, your caster this evening. It's so wonderful to see everybody out there. Really glad that you could join us here for this last minute pickup here. Almost the last possible minute. You just let them know that I'm ready. But welcome to the, what is tonight? Wednesday night special of Wildheart Gaming versus New Game Plus, the Heroic Division. And taking a quick peek, let's check out our standings, let's check out our map picks and bans and all that good stuff. But basically, you know, these are the top tier aside from Storm Division, right? Storm Division is a little bit different. It's kind of its own off to the side thing. But these are the top of the non-prize pool performing teams in Heroic Division. And we're in week 2 here, so we do have a couple of games that have already been played. Let's take a quick peek at those standings. So we do have Wildheart Gaming sitting there at 6 points so far. 2 2-0 domination victories for them so far here. New Game Plus also with 2 victories, I think, at... oh no, I guess... I think maybe they were 2-1 and 1-2 or something like that, or a 2-0 and a 1-2 maybe, because I think they were 3-2. Yeah, 3-2. So that's exactly how that works out. So they've lost 1 series, dominated the other series to get to 4 points. Both of these teams have played 2 matches so far. Taking a look at our map bans. Oh yeah, our game number 1 is going to be on Towers of Doom. It was picked by our blue team, Wildheart Gaming. Our bans were on Hanamura and Dragonshire from Wildheart Gaming. New Game Plus banned out Infernal Shrines and Braxis Holdout. And if you missed it, you might have heard the Towers of Doom announcement there. I'll give you 1 second. I'm just going to try to turn up the background a little bit. See if we can get a little bit more out of this. If the sound gets all funky, please let me know. Just trying to give it a little bit more of the old background noise so you can hear some of the things that are taking place. All right, so we are going to get our first ban. It's going to be onto the Junkrat here from New Game Plus. They're the first pick of this Towers of Doom. I have to say, Towers of Doom, one of my favorite maps, if not my favorite map. It's a different style of play. I really enjoy the opportunity that Towers of Doom provides to play a math game. I mean, you are really looking at this from the perspective of how can you maximize the potential. And there's no question of what hero do you have that does the most siege damage to a core to coordinate timing. It's, can you get structures? Can you get altars? And playing that numbers game to figure out the best way to win the game. And if you get a good solid team fight even with 20 points on the board, you're not necessarily home free. Like, you could find yourself losing a game. Wildheart gonna first pick Butcher. All right. We'll see. Well, it is going to be the Abathur Chromie coming out from Wildheart bands, and then TLV going to be the second band here for our New Game Plus. And I'm honestly not surprised to see the TLV band. It's not super common, it feels like, but it is one that if you've got a TLV player, especially with some of their upgrades recently, they're good. They're solid. We're going to get a Greymane here for Melly, the captain. That would be wild, says Funds. And it's going to be an Uther coming in with that Divine Shield and also the extra healing. And of course, Uther, another hero that did receive some buffs here not all that long ago. So he's actually able to do some pretty decent healing. This is looking really, really dangerous here for in the hands of New Game Plus. Getting that Garrosh throw with an Uther stun, Greymane with a cursed bullet, and it doesn't matter who's the recipient of that, they're probably gonna die. Wouldn't surprise me to see a Malthael maybe, so maybe a ban here to make sure that they don't get that cursed bullet last rites combo, but instead it's gonna be Zool. Huge on this map, does a lot with the double soak, which allows that bottom lane to just continue to push nonstop. But that does leave the Malthael up, so could be maybe a Malthael from Wildheart with this. A nano boosted Malthael is quite a pain in the neck to deal with. So we could see. Never. They all agree with me. I don't blame them for that ban. Passadar going to be the pickup here. I think that's a good ban. So some of your other double soakers, you could potentially see Blaze. It's not super great for it. You could see Urel. You could see Leoric is probably the most likely. Diva is banned, as is Gazlo, so neither of those options are going to be available, although I think the Diva probably could do it pretty decently as well. And McNulty going to pick up that Urel. So that leaves most likely maybe Leoric in the hands of New Game. Could also be a Sonya, I suppose. Unless they want to go into something a little bit different. Abathur's banned, Vikings are banned, so your kind of global constant pressure heroes, they're just not here for it. Oh, and it's going to be, okay, yeah, Zeratul. So Zeratul kind of fits that role as well, but he brings more team fight as the game goes on. So giving Zeratul bringing Zeratul onto this is going to give New Game Plus. Oh man, it's so scary, right? The throw, you got a stun, you got another stun, and all that time you've got the damage coming from Kael'thas and Greymane. Zeratul pokes in, he's going to bring a lot. And Lunara, the final pickup here. All right. Well, you know what? I think I have enough time to put up a poll in chat. Let me see if I can do that. Early Uther means plenty of time to counter it. Absolutely. Do want to shout out the follows here. We got Bobo, Brown Bala, and Dope Monster. Appreciate you you following the channel. That one I want. Oh, there we go. And 2 minutes is plenty of time. All right, so poll in chat. Who do you think's going to win? Is it going to be Wildheart Gaming? Is it going to be New Game Plus? Vote in chat. Go to the top of chat, hit the drop down, select the team, and then hit vote. If you don't hit the vote button, it's like getting a mail-in ballot and never sending it. It does nothing. Hopefully these guys didn't change. I didn't really look for that. Oh well. If they did, then that's on them. Their pop-up's a little wrong. Let's get started here. On the left, we have Wildheart Gaming currently the leader in points between these two teams at 6 instead of 4. We've got Lunara going to be played by Tempest. Lupus on the ETC. We got McNulty there on Urel. Brown Ball on Tassadar. And Dope Monster on the Ana. And over here for New Game Plus, we've got Zamibars playing the Garrosh. Altanian on Zeratul. Melly on the Greymane. Daisy going to be playing some Uther. And Splash coming in on Kael'thas. And we do have a banned skin there. Not a big deal. It's Kael'thas Cyberhawk skin. And you know what? On this map, I don't think that really matters. It was really mostly Sky Temple, and that's not even in the rotation at this point. I don't expect to hear any complaining about the Cyberhawk skin. Certainly not here. But as far as talents, so for the Uther, we do have that Holy Radiance build. So basically, every time he heals a hero or damages an enemy with his Holy Radiance, he's going to get a stack. He needs 60 of those stacks to get that extra half a second for his Devotion Aura. And there's the throw onto ETC. Stun coming out from Uther with a follow-up from the Kael'thas. But it's actually Garrosh here getting put to sleep, taking a lot of that damage with the healing reduction. Lupus getting that boot back from the Face Melt, keeping the Greymane from following up on that kill. Up in the top lane, we got Urel versus Zeratul, and I think that might be a little tough for Zeratul until the later in the game, but we'll have to see. Both teams working on their siege camps here, as pretty much as per normal, as we see the tanks both kind of hanging out right up in their bushes now. This is a pretty rough place here, maybe for New Game Plus. They do get the camp, but Zamibars gets the healing reduction, and that's going to be First Blood going over the Wildheart Gaming. Now, some of these players, coincidentally, part of the Regen fam in the past, many of the New Game Plus having been part of former Regen squad, also Lupus from the side of Wildheart Gaming. So they certainly have some knowledge, or have the ability to have knowledge of each other, at least to a certain degree. We do have Tassadar coming up here to gather this soak, because check it out, up here in the top, we got Urel working on the siege camp here. Oh, we did get a catch here onto ETC, gets thrown, but does get the power slide away. Keeping in mind, of course, Crowd Surfer did get a bit of an upgrade, making it so that that cooldown gets reduced significantly if you don't hit a hero. Still not often picked. It's still a fairly niche pick, but it is sometimes an option now available. But instead, Lupus going into that loud speakers, so much bigger on the face melt knockback, as we see there. He gets thrown in. Lots of those stuns coming down. Healing reduction out onto the Garrosh and Greymane as we get a little bit of a reset. Up in the top here, though, it's Urel versus Zeratul, and that's gonna be a pause button. I mean, I don't expect either of them to really be able to pick that up anytime soon. So it's really gonna be this fight down here, unless Zeratul can put on some really significant pressure. There's again the throw with the follow-up stuns. Face melt gonna come out. Garrosh gonna be put down with that heavy stun from Power Slide, but they're still looking for this ETC. Melly turn around, and they're going to get that kill. That should force now Wildheart Gaming to pull back, but not enough, as Lunara is going to get pulled in. Big stun there on the force wall. Might be enough. One more Q from Ana. Just barely with the healing grenade, no less. We did see here, Urel did eventually get that 4 points up in the top lane. The question is, can Zeratul stall it out enough for the rest of the team to rotate up, or do they even care? And right now it looks like maybe they don't care, as Lupus making his way up here and all but certainly going to secure this 4 points in favor of Wildheart Gaming. But with that, level 7's also picked up thanks to that XP gathering earlier in the game. But New Game Plus is going to step in and steal away their siege camp, thanks to having Lupus up in the top there with that ETC. Kael'thas is in an absolutely no problems position. Never mind. Just walked right on past. Nobody knew he was there. And just made it out. The force wall actually providing value for Kael'thas to be able to walk through here. Go figure. All right, Lunara putting her Wisp there in the bush, trying to make sure that New Game Plus is not sitting here doing their siege camp. Does have the ability now to see them, and of course we can see they're all revealed thanks to the Wisp. And the boss coming up onto the map at the 5-minute mark, so worth 4 points should any of the teams like to go there. Not generally picked up until later in the game, and most often to secure the win. But we'll see if there are any opportunities to pick that up instead of maybe a structure in some cases. Zeratul looking to pick up the pace on that XP gathering there, as they're about a half a level behind. Wildheart really stepping up the XP in this, and kind of as expected with the Yrel there. Speaking of that XP, let's take a look at where that's all coming from. So we do see there about 1,000 more in the minion XP for Wildheart Gaming, as the top 2 altars now coming in. Zeratul going in is going to try to stall them out a little bit here. Got a little bit of damage onto the Tassadar, but ultimately we're going to see Dope Monster head over, start that channel on the left side, and Ultanian there, Zeratul picking up the right side. So easy split, 4 points for 4 points. And I think that, you know what, if you're New Game Plus, that's probably the best thing that you could hope for right there. Decent timing on the level 10. So that means most likely by the next objective, they'll have it. Melly, however, getting caught by that power slide, did have the Force Wall there as well, but just not quite enough damage. And level 10's now here for the side of Wildheart Gaming as we see those popping up. We got the Mosh Pit, Nano Boost, Lunara with that Leaping Strike, the Archon, and finally the Ardent Defender for Yrel. So expect to see Yrel be a lot more aggressive in these team fights when they start to happen, right? Right now we've mostly just been seeing 4v4 and 1v1s going on, but we'll see that coming up. New Game now has their level 10s as well. So we got that Divine Shield, Warlord's Challenge, the Void Prison, Cursed Bullet, and Kael'thas sitting there thinking about it. Gonna go ahead and go Pyroblast, because why not, right? Throw that on the Ana. Bring her down to half or under, or finish the job. Right now, Siege Camp in the bot lane gonna get cleared up by New Game Plus. As our third altar phase coming up. Bot lane, bot, shrine, altar, altar. Once again, there's the flip, the challenge, the Greymane bullet, but Lupus alive! Lives through all of it somehow. And that's going to become a little bit easier once level 13 hits and Ana's able to get the stun removal with that armor bonus. So this is really the time when New Game Plus needs to find these kind of kills. There's once again onto the ETC. This time Void Prison out is going to slow things down. Lupa's still able to make it out though, as Ultanian on the Zeratul trying to catch up. Lunara, however, is going to fall, as does Tassadar. Greymane able to finish that kill as well, so that's going to give this bottom altar now over to New Game Plus. Evening up the score, 28-28, and with that 2-kill advantage, we're going to see here New Game Plus working on this bottom tower. Both heroes now back up on the map and heading back over to the siege camp. And with that level 1 Sentinel Wisp, Lunara now getting that field of vision. And we'll take a look and see just how does that look for them. So we can see here this radius, pretty significant. So they can see all of these heroes on this rotation. As now level 13 coming up. So a short period of time where Wildheart has the advantage with these level 13s. But New Game Plus, they're almost there. They're going to get this in a moment. So it's not, unless they were able to pick up just the exact right moment. And a big gravity lapse there. Follow up with the first bullet. But power slide away. And how do they do it? How are they making this work? Because ETC is not a hero known for his high health pool, right? He gets the benefit of that 25 armor every time he uses his abilities. So his health pool is a little bit smaller, but every single time the healing coming in from Dope Monster is able to keep ETC alive just barely. No game audio. Okay, let me fix that in a second. Once this alter phase is done, we'll fix that. It must have defaulted again. Oh, there's the Void Prison as I'm trying to fix that. And here comes a mosh. It gets instantly interrupted with the gravity lapse, but this time ETC not making it out alive. The taunt going out onto Yrel. Living Bomb gonna have to pull away so that doesn't spread, but Tassadar gonna spread it right on over to Lunara here. Daisy having to be careful. Ultanian with 60 health, just barely able to make it out. It's gonna get that tap. May try to sneak down and grab the bottom as the rest of the team stalling out here over this altar, and it looks like that's exactly the case. As the siege camp's still going here. Zammy is, however, getting brought very low. Gonna get that stun onto Yrel, and just enough. Can't even get the Ardent Defender on, as now Dope Monster trying to want to run away from the Pyroblast. Gonna eat it to the face, and that is all she wrote. Absolutely monstrous play there from New Game Plus with the patience to make sure that they got all of those points, all 8 points out of the double altar there. But it all started with finally landing that kill onto ETC. Third, fourth, maybe even fifth attempt to try to do so. They finally get that. Looking for it again now here. Oh my goodness, look at that damage! And there's no Ana there to help. That smelling salts at 13, right there, 50 armor for 2 seconds. It's not there. And suddenly now, with that pressure right onto the first fort of the game. For those of you who keep track of those stats, if you've been watching those stats, keep in mind, Hours of Doom often a map where the towers take a little bit longer to pick up. It's not quite the same as some of the other maps here. All right, let's fix that while we watch what's going on in the bot lane here. Get our game sound back on. All right, we should have game sound. Please let me know if it is back and ready to go here. There's another flip, this time on Lunara. Great gravity lapse with a taunt to follow up. They are not letting this bottom fort go. And the siege camp just came up as well. They've got the 3 points here in the bot lane potentially coming through with a triple altar phase. This is 28-20 with a full level lead and currently a talent tier lead as well. Garrosh is going to zone out the ETC, so that's 3 more points in favor of New Game Plus here. Zeratul versus Yrel in the mid lane. Zeratul's a little bit low, but he does have that level 16, so he's got the extra cleave potential when he hits multiple targets. So Zeratul's going to try to pick up their side, as we do have a couple down here at the bottom. So Yrel's going to be able to pause that, but here comes the rotation in from Garrosh and Kael'thas, trying to see if maybe they can just get this kill on Yrel. Well, there's the Ardent Defender, so that's a good cooldown. 3 more points in the bot lane, about to break through. And only the 1 altar left, as Yrel just getting absolutely deleted. ETC does get the mosh, but gets pulled out of it. Void Prison locking down the rest of the team. Lupus trying to make it out, is very close, as the Divine Shield coming out onto Zeratul, helping to secure that kill onto ETC. Another throw, another Groundbreaker stun. Looking for the Tassadar this time. Tassadar getting some healing, cannot quite make it out. And that's a triple kill coming in for New Game Plus, as they are starting to run away with this map. And I mentioned it earlier, this is a map where math matters. And this altar right here, 5 points, that puts Wildheart Gaming down to 4. And that means that it should be boss time. Right, guys? It's boss time, right? Are we going boss? We're going boss. And this play right here, you can tell, like, Tassadar's 10 seconds out. It's still going to be a tough time, and probably not going to happen as Yrel making her way there. But it's tough sometimes to even remember to get to those structures or get to the boss when it's appropriate. And this is obviously the time when it's appropriate, right? You can win the game. You got 3 people dead. You got 5 points that just went out, and you just evened it out to 4. This is when you go. And that's exactly what they did. It took them a moment, you could tell. You could tell. Maybe Iltanian was like, hey, guys, we win the game right here. Let's go. What are we doing? Why are we getting that fort? We don't need that fort. It's always, the boss is always 4 shots. Always 4 shots. Glad, thank you for the confirmation that the audio is there. Much appreciated. Sorry about that. Sometimes the system doesn't remember to, you know, it doesn't remember what I told it to do last time. Our stats, 1 kill to 12. And that was, you know, it wasn't a significant amount of kills early game, and then it just kind of opened, you know, wide open. And it was really kind of in an interesting time too, because it was after Ana got smelling salts, which is easily the best counter or ability that Wildheart Gaming had to what New Game Plus was doing. And even still, even with having the potential for that 50 armor anytime the stuns were cleansed, ultimately it was New Game Plus who just said, let's run it down, let's take him out. That was it. Show you the quick talents here, and then it looks like they've already started the lobby for the next game, so we'll get into that here in just a moment. Guys are already ready to go. I haven't even given them point for the teams yet. Let's see. Let's give them that point. That went over to the red side. And it looks like our next game, our next map is going to be Battlefield of Eternity. Don't yet know who picked it. I'll know in a moment. Let's see here. All right, we're going to take just a quick moment while they get the lobby set up. It'll probably just be a very short minute. And back in just a moment. All right, we're back. Welcome back. Looks like Battlefield of Eternity was the selection of New Game Plus here. So first pick is going to be over to Wildheart Gaming. Currently up 1-0 is New Game Plus after the Towers of Doom game there. And it looks like our draft is all ready to go. Let's get into it. All right, so last game we saw the bans onto the Abathur, the Chromie, Junkrat, and Lost Vikings. This time, getting rid of that Uther. Oh, they gave me chat privileges. Okay, well, let's go to... We'll go to that. Something cool. Yeah, there's been... Wow, there's nothing quiet, guys. Region's quiet. Okay. Ana is the next pick for our, well, I guess our next band. So choking out those supports, and I think that's justified. I mean, both of those supports did really, really well there, and yeah, Ana didn't, win the game, and had a little bit of a struggle there into that second half, but ultimately, I mean, kept the team going. I mean, how many times does Lupus get thrown in and have every ability thrown onto them and still make it out? Still make it out, somehow. But it's going to be a Garrosh ban here from Wildheart. And our fourth ban here, our final ban for New Game Plus, going to be ETC. So we are going to get new tanks and new healers for sure. The teams do not want to allow either of them the benefit of those heroes. And our first pick going to be Raynor. So Raynor's a good race hero. He's also a really safe early game pick. Has a little bit of self-sustain. Does pretty solid damage just in general. Has some knockbacks, so he's got the opportunity then to protect some of his team or even just himself. And then if you go Hyperion, that's a high siege tool. So this is a map that very easy for it to kind of get away from you early in the game. You get a 1-2 early immortals. It can be tough to come back from that. These objectives are so strong that when you get the first couple of them and start getting those structures down, it's very difficult to come back. The next objective become even harder and harder as the team that's up can just kind of hang back. They don't have to pressure because they have catapults coming. That being said, we're going to get Junkrat and Imperius. Junkrat being banned out the last game. Imperius here could be a main tank Imperius. Not personally had the opportunity to cast that, so kind of hoping that that's the case. And I don't think I mentioned there the Leoric. So Leoric, not a great race hero necessarily, but is going to be really solid for the team fight. And in theory, has the Unstoppable to deal with that stun. Schizophrenic says, I heard Lupus just calculates all the opponent's damage and cooldowns. Knows exactly when he can just miss position to be placed in the enemy backline. Fair enough. If you know exactly how much damage they can do in the period of time when you're going to be stunned and how much healing your healer can do, then, I mean, all the power to you, right? All right, it's going to be Li-Ming and Stukov, the band's final here. And we're going into Anduin and Diablo here. So Diablo can charge in along with a Curse Bullet, gives them another possibility, just like the Garrosh, where they can put a hero in a specific location and say, kill that one. But they're going to need some pretty big damage out of Splash to make that work. Greymane, obviously, really solid by himself, but they need the rest of that damage, a little bit more burst maybe. Thrall going to be the pick here. He's going to be going against Leoric in that off lane. And then Dope Monster. So this could potentially be a Bloodlust. With the... I mean, all of those heroes can get pretty decent benefit out of it. But we'll see. I'm not sure. I don't know which way they go with that. Could also be an ancestral to help counter the shadow charge, cursed bullet. And there's the Chromie. So we get a couple of those heroes that were banned out last game. That's our draft. Let's go ahead and get a poll up here. All right. So who do you think's going to win game number 2? Is it going to be Wildheart on the left here, our blue team? Or is it going to be New Game Plus? Closing it out in a 2-0 domination. Vote in chat. The results of our last poll, I never actually got around to saying, and I apologize for that. The results of our last poll, 3-1 in favor of Wildheart. And ultimately that was New Game Plus taking that victory. But Battlefield Eternity is a very different map from Towers of Doom. Here we go. Game's all set up, ready to go. This is West. Okay, apparently we are remaking. Not stats. Come back to me. Is it really? It is West. All right. So, yeah, fun times. We have server getting picked up on West, and who wants to play on West? Pretty much nobody. I don't even think most West people want to play on West. So we'll get back into that lobby in just a moment. Let's see. Here's the language and regions. So West ping. Oh, it's not even an option anymore now. It's just North America, Brazil, Australia, and Singapore. We don't even have an option to choose where those go. So I don't know that we can for any longer. I don't know that we can even really justify saying, hey, it's got to be on the server, because it seems like that's just, there's no control over that now. You think Lupus's calculator's broken? So that's an interesting thing. I don't know how that affects the rules in general, since you can't really force it to go west or central or wherever else they have. So I guess ultimately, if you know, if the teams want central and it makes sense, then that's what they go for, right? I mean. So, I don't know. We'll see. I didn't think that there were any issues with that anyways, but that's what they've got. So, we do have our teams, you know, set up here, so working on that. Oh, looks like another team had to do a remake too. I wonder if that's for the same issue. TI-84, you know. Do what you got to do. All right, I feel like we've been through this before, but we'll show it again. See if they remember all of their bans. I can't tell them because they actually kept me off of the chat this time. But I'm sure they've got it. 50-50 on the poll. So one of you said Wildheart, one of you said New Game Plus. I expect you guys to duke it out. And then show the VOD later.
Anytime you're ready.
This all looks real familiar. Doing it right. And you know, in theory, you probably don't have to go through the whole draft and everything again, but it is captured in like Stats of the Storm, Heroes Profile. So if you remake and do it as just like a standard draft, so to speak, yes, you'll capture the hero data, but you won't capture the bans. Stats of the Storm won't capture the pick order, the ban order, all that stuff. So, yes, it takes an extra moment to go through the bans, but it's still, you know, still helpful. You know, it occurs to me, I should probably make sure that the microphone is actually on the same... It is, okay, good. That was just the game sound.
Here we go again.
Hey, surprise, Chromie! Alright. Let's try this again, and this time, hopefully... Oh, these guys are screwing around, switching people around. Alright. Anyways, we'll try this again. Hopefully we get a central server this time. I bet Wildheart Gaming goes main tank Imperius this game. I mean, it's either that or it's wow, that was a fast load. And we are on central, so there we go. We're good. Let's get our teams introduced. On the left, looking to even up the match of this best of 3, it's going to be Dope Monster playing Rhaegar. Tempest going to be on that. Junkrat. Lupus playing the main tank Imperius. Brown Bala on the Rainer. And McNulty on the Thrall. And over here for New Game Plus, Ultanian going to be on that Leoric up in the solo lane. We got Zammy Bars on Diablo. Splash going to be playing that Chromie. Anduin going to be played by Daisy. And Melly, once again, on the Greymane. Alright, so with the main tank Imperius going into the Celestial Charge, I think is what this is called. Yes, it is. Impaling Light. So getting the cooldown reduction on his Q, that gives Imperius a little bit more peel potential. Also makes him a lot of a threat. If you can get a few people onto a spear like that, that's a nearly instant CDR. We're going to see Exterminator there for Raynor and Rolling Thunder for Thrall as a big stun coming out from Imperius. And the Concussion Mine throwing Zammy Bars into the back, but was able to use that Shadow Charge to get out safely. Interesting kind of deviation. Don't see a whole lot of the totem build here for Rhaegar. So getting the ability to move totems, but I think it also gives them extra range. Yeah, and eventually, like, if you take other talents, you get extra health and slowing attacks, which I kind of expect to see that with the Greymane damage potential here. That time trap. Gonna go ahead and stall out Lupus. Keep Imperius from coming in here. Up in the top lane, we'll take a look at these guys for a moment here. We got Ultanian, McNulty, and, you know, these two, we've got Leoric, who's got a little bit of an advantage in the wave clear, as compared to Thrall, who's going to have a little bit more player damage. So, especially with that Rolling Thunder, giving him that % damage when he hits with his Chain Lightning. But as we see there, Ultanian able to get that spooky hand out for the healing. Lupus, however, gonna be first blood, getting a flip out there from Zammy Bars, and just not quite enough. And this is where New Game Plus, if they can apply this pressure early on, Rhaegar doesn't have a lot of healing utility in the early game, and he's gonna go out of mana pretty quickly. So we can see they're already pushing down. One tower's down, second tower probably just gonna be left there at about half health, so never mind. This, however, could be... Okay, I was gonna say, if they pick this up early, it could be an opportunity then for Wildheart to do a rotation and see if they can get some kills over here on this Shaman camp on the side of New Game Plus. But instead, it looks like they're gonna go ahead and hold on to that, gather their soak in each of these lanes, and then get ready. And as far as our race potential, so Greymane versus Exterminator Raynor, probably pretty similar. Chromie, I think, beats out the other damage, but I don't know if she beats out both of the other damage. Leoric, Diablo, not really great at siege. So I think they're probably similar-ish, with maybe a slight edge going over to Wildheart at this point. And it is Leo coming down first here as that Shaman camp going up into the top lane. Thrall's going to stay up there to deal with that. The New Game Plus is able to poke this out. Wildheart trying to defend here. Now, they've got to be really careful because of Diablo's positioning, right? Diablo looking for those walls, and there are a lot of walls here, especially when you're trying to defend below and to the left. Those are the big walls on this position here. Time Trap's going to come out. The spear landing onto Leoric. He does use Unstoppable to get away, and the Leap of Faith coming in. It's a 1.5-minute cooldown to save the Leoric, but no kills out of that for either team. That said, New Game Plus currently far ahead in the race as Raynor and Thrall head up to try to catch him up here. And it does look like we'll get halftime almost exactly the same amount here. That said, 5 versus 3 as Diablo gets the Shadow Charge in. Celestial Charge trying to keep Lupus alive here, and a great penetrating round. The first thing I said about Raynor was on this map that he was going to have that potential for the additional race, but also that he brings that disruption. He can throw somebody back with a penetrating round. That's exactly what he did to save Lupus. Halftime went over, I think, to Wildheart, but this is going to be Wildheart that gets us, and they chase down the Diablo, getting themselves a kill, although they won't get to level 7 first. Looks like that's going to be in favor of New Game Plus here. But first Immortal of the game going over to Wildheart, and that's really fantastic because they were, I don't know, 40% or so behind at one point there just before halftime. So getting the Immortal, also getting that kill onto Diablo, really high value, is going to get them all of this wall and just the tiniest amount of fort damage. One attack from the minion here. But Thrall and Leoric down in the bot lane here. Thrall actually falling to the Leoric. We did see earlier in that top lane 1v1 that Thrall had been struggling a little bit into the Leoric. And it looks like that continued there in the bot lane. Now, Thrall at level 7 did take that Ancestral Wrath, so he has additional percent damage on top of that Rolling Thunder. New Game Plus gonna head down. We've got 2v2 now down in the bot lane. Leoric very low. Diablo kind of holding on, saying, come on, move a little bit forward. Let me see if I can find that. Oh, Time Trap from Chromie. Looking for the Thrall. Gets the stun. The Concussion Mine. Enough to keep Diablo out of it, but it didn't matter because Chromie was right there. And that's another kill here for New Game Plus as they are slightly ahead on the march to level 10. About a half a level at this point. And the structure damage, about even, right? Top lane we saw with the Immortal getting that wall down. In the bot lane, New Game Plus was able to get that down primarily earlier with their first kill. They're going to pick up this siege camp. Level 10 is coming up very soon for them, so they should be able to get some either race progress, if that's what they want to focus on, or potentially even look at fort damage. I think it's most likely they go for the Immortal with that level 10 advantage. There's a big spear, though, onto Chromie, and she is deleted. Leap of Faith being used as well. And that is just about perfect for Wildheart Gaming. That slows down the potential race from New Game Plus. Gets them a little bit closer to level 10, but it means that now they can get on this race immediately. And they are still a little bit behind, though. They didn't have Junkrat there. They don't have Thrall here, so... they do actually end up pulling it off to have the halftime in their favor, just barely. That Greymane putting out some work. Zooming out here, just checking out. Leoric coming in with an Entomb. We do have the Shadow Charge along with a Light Bomb. Looking for the kill onto Lupus. Big medallion there. Leoric trying to Wraith Walk away with that Unstoppable. Here comes Junkrat with his Riptire. He's not going to be able to find it. He is going to be able to find it. Not quite enough damage, though, as had to pop that before it could be optimally placed. Lupus looking for maybe some stall out on Zammy bars, but Zammy's staying alive through all of the various blue health bars. Wildheart Gaming, however, is going to be able to pick up this next Immortal as Thrall's going to head up into the top lane. Now, we'll have to keep an eye on that Thrall versus Leoric matchup as well. We saw in the last round here that Thrall lost that. We'll have to zip up there here in a moment to catch that. Chromie picking up her level 11 talent here. So is it going to be that timeout? No, it's going to be the boost there on her Q. Root going out onto Diablo, but they can't really follow up on it. Did get that unstoppable, though, that medallion used for Diablo. So once again, Immortal going to get a little bit of damage on the fort, but not getting the full fort value. Check in on Thrall versus Leoric. This time, Leoric, the one sitting here a little bit low, has the defense of his fort. So ultimately, Thrall's not coming into that. And last time, after that fight, Wildheart got a little caught out. They had the 5v2, which did not work in their favor. Lupus trying to catch that Diablo, just couldn't quite land the Celestial Charge onto the Lord of Terror. Here comes that Bloodlust. Light Bomb coming out, does not hit. Oh, what a Gladiator's Medallion on Anduin. Just not enough to save him, though. Did prevent that Celestial Charge from landing as Unstoppable onto the Rainer, and with that Entomb, just not going to happen. He's toast. Lupus now with Angelic Armaments, taking the damage from the fort, but Zambibar's having to pull back. Doesn't have enough health to keep going into this Ultanian as well. Watching out for that Junkrat trap. Chattering Teeth, forcing him to pull back. So a 1-for-1 trade there, ultimately, getting the Rainer and getting the Anduin. A couple of Gladiators medallions were used there from both of those players, and I think there was actually one other one as well. And it didn't work out for Anduin, unfortunately, because that was such a perfectly timed medallion for that spear. It looked so good. If only. If it was anybody else and Anduin was able to heal that person, that would have been an absolutely perfect play. So Daisy, A+, nice try. Maybe next time. We'll see how that comes back in 5 minutes. But we're going to get pressure in both lanes here from Wildheart. And keep in mind, again, Wildheart has gotten every Immortal so far. They have the greater race, and they have been really making use of that. Now the pressure in the lanes on top of the race going to give them a little bit of value here. Maybe. Well, it's hard to say. Both teams are able to get pressure in both lanes now. So we'll come back in a few moments when, you know, one team or the other decides to step forward. But right now it's equal. Neither team has a fort down. Light Bomb a little early. They just couldn't quite find the person. Now that being said, I don't think Wildheart knows that, because that was on Leoric and he was in Wraithwalk that whole time. So the Light Bomb was actually back at his body. But they do see Greymane up top. Celestial Charge coming in with the Bloodlust coming in. Concussion Mine going to boop Anduin away, Diablo in, but Wraithwalk going out, trying to get Leoric there away. Again, Greymane's still in the top lane, so this is 100% value for Wildheart. They're going to be able to push that race. Greymane did clear up that camp, and now the Siege camp, or I'm sorry, the Shaman camp, pushing up in the top lane. But was it worth it? They lose the halftime, and now have to, like, Thrall goes back, but Wildheart has the opportunity to just shred this. Apocalypse coming in. Celestial Charge gets onto 2. Does get stunned, though. Now, Lupus in massive danger here. Only 100 health is going to get taken out there. Greymane finishing the job. Thrall coming in from behind, looking for the Greymane himself, but ultimately having to pull back. But keep in mind, there's only 900 health left on this Immortal. Anybody gets any damage on that, Thrall could throw out a Chain Lightning and that thing's done just from the bounces. Welcome, Aura. Good to see you. So with that, Greymane over here is going to begin the long trek of doing the next 20,000 damage to this Immortal, and hope that they can get to it before Rainer can finish it with his Raider. Raider's going to get it about 550, 650. I don't remember what it was at before. Doesn't matter. It's enough. And now we've got our 5v5 here, but they get about half of it. New Game Plus was able to shred down about half of the Immortal, so ultimately, you know, that's worth. But I don't know if giving up that initial halftime was high value. And here we come with our third Immortal going over to Wildheart Gaming. This should be a fort. The first structure of this game. Now, that being said, in the bot lane, this fort's very low as well. The Shaman camp did get a little bit of value down there from that time that the objective was taking. McNulty getting caught very low. Greymane looking for it. Diablo gets a shadow charge, and that is a quick kill onto Thrall, along with the Earthquake used. And with that kill, that's going to force Wildheart Gaming to come back. The Immortal now getting free clear from the side of New Game Plus. Still, all of that keep wall down. So this is now an open opportunity to get to close this out. If Wildheart Gaming can keep pressure up in these lanes, they now have 2 forts down. They can be a little bit more defensive. Not only do they have the greater race, but they have the greater pressure in both lanes now. New Game Plus has been winning the overall team fight, 6-3 on the kills. Now there's the Celestial Charge and a great time trap right onto the Bloodlust. But can they do anything with it? No, no. And there you have it. Splash right there, right there. Let's follow this Chromie for just a moment, because that time trap just, maybe it saved the day, maybe it didn't, but it negated the pressure. Period. There was nothing Wildheart could do. And now with level 16s, New Game Plus has a slight advantage, again, from the players. They don't have a map advantage, and that's where they've been really struggling all game. They've gotten some damage. They got early damage onto this wall. They did get that camp up here into the top lane as well. So they're making little incremental things happen. And really what they're looking for now is to keep that going. Because this next objective, these death timers are getting longer and longer. And if you can get 1 kill or 2 kills, that turns into your objective. And if they get an objective with the Greymane and the potential of a shadow charge into, or a entomb, any of that combo takes place, especially with a living bomb on, or a light bomb rather, on top of it, and it becomes extremely dangerous for Wildheart. And here's that objective, 2 seconds away, spawning now. Imperious looking, throws out that Celestial Charge, gets caught by Diablo with the stun. Light Bomb coming out, but a big cleanse coming out, keeping the Imperious from getting stunned. Junkrat with that, whatever it is, Riptire. Got some damage into the backline. And Tomb coming out onto Thrall. He did have that Ancestral Wrath going out there as well. So he's going to be able to make it out. A lot of heroics used on the side of Wildheart Gaming. And New Game Plus threw some out too, but their heroics, generally speaking, are a little bit shorter, right? Light Bomb's a fairly short cooldown. Entomb is a really short cooldown. So right now, the only thing up is the Bloodlust. Leoric's in bot and Thrall's up top, so this is still an even fight in the mid lane, or in the middle of the map, if they choose to take it. Now, Celestial Charge going out onto Diablo, getting Concussion Mind over. There's the Bloodlust, looking for that Diablo still, but it's Imperious getting caught. The Diablo versus Imperious fight that just never really got to take place in Diablo. And that's again a long cooldown. Here comes the time trap with the Light Bomb. Can they get it onto Thrall? Not quite. Diablo falling pretty low in that. And it looks like now Leoric, you know, key race on the side of New Game Plus, is now looking to catch the Thrall. Does get with the Entomb, but he's getting very low. Ancestral Wrath, I think, coming out as well. As McNulty trying to make it away, but Greymane diving in resets that level 16 Thunderstorm talent as well. Junkrat getting the follow-up kill onto the Leoric, though, or I guess the revenge kill. And it looks like Brown Bala there on the Rainer getting body blocked, just surrounded by red health bars. So ultimately, they're getting 3 kills net out of all of this for the 1. Definitely in favor there of New Game Plus. And we see Daisy trying to Hearth here, trying to get that mana just refreshed. And again, 3 heroes left. And none of them particularly great at the racing here for Wildheart. As New Game Plus getting that work in. They got the Greymane on there. Diablo's going in. He doesn't even care. It's 2. They have Chromie and Diablo. And he says, you know what? I got this. I'm going in. And we're going to get the first Immortal for New Game Plus. Game number 2 here. Mod chat. Oh, yes. That's true. Aura's a mod. Don't screw up. She'll mod you. All right, so Leoric, once again, here, trying to keep the pressure at bay in the bot lane. Celestial Charge coming in. We did get the Greymane bullet out as well. And Angelic Armament's gonna pop. Light Bomb looking at Raynor as Chromie trying to get away from the Junkrat. Did get the Raynor, but it looks like Chromie's just toast. Riptire right to the face, and Chromie gonna be the first kill of this one here. Diablo going in, gets charged as well. Brawl, however, just surrounded, can't get away, and that's gonna be a return kill here in favor of New Game Plus. Cursed Bullet is back online, as is Slowing Sands, but Chromie's dead, so that doesn't count. The only heroic, and never mind, it's gone. Lupus popping that molten armor. And Immortal here just about toast. The Keep sitting at about half health, and we did see there Leoric using that ominous Wraith to reduce the damage of his enemy teams here, right? It increases the duration of his Wraith walk, but also reduces by 50% for 4 seconds anybody that he touches with that. So really high value to slow down, especially against the Immortal, right? You're not in danger. You're Leoric. You just go in, you can walk everywhere. They can't touch you unless they get back to your, I guess, your main body, your physical skeletal body. In the bot lane, however, Wildheart trying to stay away at this point from New Game Plus. We got level 20s on this as well. Now, keep in mind, last game we didn't get level 20s. This is our first chance to see that. A heal here that I personally really like, and I know that it probably a little bit controversial. Desperate Prayer coming out from Anduin. Really, I think it's a fantastic level 20, but it does root you in place for 2 seconds while you give a massive burst of healing to whomever. You know, so if you've got to keep somebody alive through that Celestial Charge, for example, that's how you do it. It's a 2,300. Oh, it's only 1,100? I thought it was way more than that. Well, okay, whatever. It's still a big burst of healing. And here comes the next Immortal here, and it's, you know, Wildheart's still a little bit behind on this race to 20. We do have that Silence Entomb, the Hunter's Blunderbuss as well, so lots of splash potential. Chromie with the Piercing Sands, so, I mean, she's just going to be putting damage into everybody on the side of Wildheart. But she can also do that while doing damage to the Immortal. Wildheart here trying to be safe about this. They're very close to level 20s. And New Game, they recognize they don't really have any, they're not going to get an opportunity to fight them. So, moving on to the Immortal. Get it down to halftime. Get this in their favor, because once 20s are up, they don't have that opportunity anymore. It's going to be Execute there for the Raynor, so that even greater, once halftime hits, Raynor does additional damage to the Immortal. But the real value here is Imperious at level 20. Valor's Brand now doesn't go away anymore. So watch for that Imperious to do some absolutely just terrifying combos. We did get the Gladiator shout there for the Bloodlust as well. And of course Thrall with the shields now for his level 20 as well. Root not going to land there, but there's the Entomb Silence. Bloodlust coming in, but not enough to save Thrall. Lupus in danger here as well. Is going to back away, and with that movement speed, able to get away. But a quick blow up there, thanks to that Entomb Apocalypse Cursed Bullet combo. And this is kind of the moment where Wildheart has to make something happen. They do get the Celestial Charge, and Leoric going to fall very quickly, as the rest of the team just was completely distracted. But Imperious, so deep into the team, cannot get back out. And with that, New Game Plus is going to get the Immortal. They're going to keep charging. They're going, looking to get any of these heroes that they can. But the shielding is already gone on the core, as the Shaman camp here, 99% that catapult is focused. It's not going to stop attacking that core until it dies, which it does. But with that Immortal coming in here, this is all but game. Zamibar is getting the Light Bomb, trying to get Brown Bala. The Raynor, one additional kill at the end of the game here. Maybe even possibly looking at that Rhaegar. But it's not fast enough. They can't get that Rhaegar down in time. So GG, New Game Plus takes the series 2-0. All right, there are our stats. Had those up for a bit, so I'll show you the talents here as we wait to see if we get an interview. The really fantastic play there. Oh, there we go.
Hey, what's up, man?
Welcome. Thanks for joining me. We got Melly here from New Game Plus. Congratulations. That was a really solid couple of games. How's the team feeling after that?
Pretty good. We meshed together really well, and it was a really fun series. And shout out to Wildheart Gaming for being flexible with the scheduling and everything.
Sure. So you guys, this is really for the most part a group of people that have played together for a little while, correct? Like it looks like about 60% of your team or so.
Yeah, me, Splash, Sultanian, and then Zammy was subbing for us today. And then we picked up Daisy like a week or two ago.
A week or two ago,
Daisy's
so last minute addition.
Yeah, we haven't had like a full 5-man roster for like a couple months. It's been kind of a mixed match of who we can get. We're trying to get a solid 5-man crew together.
Sure. Well, it looked solid tonight. You guys had done some tryouts in the Storm Division as well, and so obviously that was a very limited pool. So you're here in Heroic, looking really strong. This is your third match.
Second match.
Second match. I thought it said that you guys had a 3-point. Oh, was there was? A
oh,
withdrawal.
that
That's
was because somebody.
That's right.
Sky 5. They what do you call it?
They withdrew. Yeah. So okay. I was really confused as to how Heroic had so many flex matches already done, but that makes more sense now.
Yeah.
Okay, so second match. So your first match, you guys lost that 1-2. Then is that correct?
Yes, correct.
So you come into this, you get a 2-0 victory over Wildheart. They had won a 2-0. Is this kind of how you expected this to go? Were there some, other, circumstances that you thought maybe would come up, or was this pretty much just by the book?
You mean like draft wise, or
just in general? Yeah, I mean, you guys, it's early in the season, so scouting can be a little bit harder to do sometimes.
True.
So it's interesting just to kind of see, how do you prepare, and did you prepare, or was this just, hey, we just got to play our game?
Yeah, we did. Zammy did a little bit of scouting for us actually, so we knew a couple of the picks that they wanted. But other than that, we just want to play a solid macro game and communicate well and draft well. I think drafting is a lot more important than it used to be. So I think we drafted pretty well the first and second game, and I think that contributed a lot to our cohesiveness.
Well, I really liked your guys' draft there in game number 1, using the Zeratul as the off lane, especially with Ultanian. He's a absolute monster on that hero sometimes. But
that wasn't actually planned. He suggested that kind of last minute, and it actually worked out really well. It was a good pickup, I think.
So I got to ask you, in game number 1 on Towers of Doom, the first half of the game was like just nobody died, right? You got Lupus half a dozen times but couldn't kill him, and then it was beyond level 13 when Ana actually gained the ability to sustain that healing and give armor and things like that you guys really pulled away. What do you attribute that to? How did you guys convert from almost kills to, okay, now we run away with this? Because it went from like you guys were dead even in points to, okay, now we just win.
10's definitely helped a lot. Getting Curse Bullet's a huge pickup, obviously, and I can't remember what Zammy got at level 1, if he got the reduced healing or not. But so we layered our CC really well. We weren't stacking any CC, and Zeratul was causing a lot of problems for Ana in the backline. So any target we threw, Zera can just go in the backline and kind of disrupt all of that while we chunk down any of the targets that are in front, and not give Lunara any value in the long term. So we need to make those fights really quick, and then kind of peel out, reset, and re-engage.
Sure. And that, that makes a lot more sense too, because a lot of those fights where you didn't get the kills onto ETC were the 4v4, but then once you were able to start getting those kills, it's because you had the 5v5, and like you said, Ultanian pressuring that backline certainly makes it a lot harder for Ana to save the day when she's got you know.
Yeah, she's VP'd, or I mean, there was at least like 1 or 2 people in the VP whenever we were getting a frontline pick. So playing front to back was really favorable for us.
Sure, and it looked like when you guys when you get to that triple altar phase, and there's 9 points left, you get a couple kills. I think it was 3 kills in that one, and then Ultanian goes to get the altar. It looked like the group of you guys went to that mid fort. Was Ultanian just like, guys, what are we doing? Like, why are you doing
He
that?
actually was.
I could hear it. I could hear it.
It was like a big miscommunication. That was pretty big macro error. We wasted probably like 10 seconds just thinking that. I mean, I literally forgot about the tribute for a second, and then can't do math, so my bad.
Fair enough. All right, well, get into game 2. In game 2, obviously a very different map going into Battlefield Eternity. Their race was, you know, clearly a little bit better, not significantly so, but enough. And the first 3 Immortals went over to Wildheart, but they didn't get significant value out of them. So, what was it about your comp? Like, first of all, was it built and developed to do exactly what it did, which was, you know, make this be a late game comp? And was there anything that you guys did differently first half of the game to the second half of the game that ultimately is what led to success?
Yeah, a little bit. Once they hit 10 and they decided to do EQ Bloodlust, and they got a pick, I think like the first and second time, it's like, all right, we need to try and bait out the Earthquake and then disengage, and then we can fight into him, because they didn't really have much after the EQ and Bloodlust. I kind of messed up on the first Immortal. We definitely should have won that, and we made some macro mistakes. Like they definitely shouldn't have gotten the first Immortal. We just weren't able to get it to halftime. But if we got it to halftime, then we definitely would have won that, because they got a ton of value in the first half of that first Immortal. That was a little frustrating. Yeah, we kind of just wanted to bait out their ult combos and have Chromie slow and use Light Bomb to disengage if we really needed it, and then we can just go in and fight them. The level 20 tomb is also really big, and so that was kind of it. We just need to be patient.
Yeah, that final fight where you guys got the 2 in the entomb. I think you only got 1 kill out of it initially, if I remember right, but like that's all you needed to kind of
I think it was Thrall, and then they needed to keep engaging, which they did. So Imperius queued back in, and we just cut it out until we were a little more healed, and then just re-engaged.
And there were a couple of moments that I really enjoyed, and I highlighted a couple of them. One of them was really unfortunate. I think it was Daisy. Was Daisy playing Anduin?
Yes.
Daisy had an absolutely just perfectly timed medallion to avoid getting caught by a Celestial Charge from Imperius. Died anyway, but it was still it was so clutch on the timing, so I had to shout that out. And then there was actually another one that Splash with the time trap on that bottom siege camp. That it was like, okay, Bloodlust, and instantly time trap, and everybody just walks away. Like it was so clutch.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, Daisy's really solid, and so is Splash. He's those guys are top tier.
Well, you guys played an absolutely great set. It's really exciting to get to cast you guys again. So before we get to shoutouts, is there any particular moment that you wanted to make sure was brought up, highlighted? And it could be something, that you did or the other team did, but just something you really wanted to make sure was identified that was a good play or something.
Really, I was just really happy with game 1. It was really disciplined. Maybe it sounds like a small thing, but the way we layered CC was really well. Nobody stacked CC ever. So it was Garrosh throw, stun, Uther stuns, and then KT follows up. I just thought it's really good from everybody involved.
Oh, absolutely. And you know what? I mean, I mentioned it in your guys' draft. I think I mentioned it in the cast. Towers of Doom is my favorite map. And so seeing those things happen and seeing the control and, that third altar phase, if you can win at that third altar phase, you've done it perfectly. That's about as good of a game as you can possibly get, other than just straight up 6-capping somebody, which just doesn't really happen that often. You know?
True. And we haven't been too lucky on that map either, so it was good to finally get a win on it.
Sure. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get to shoutouts. The floor is yours.
Shout out to Zammy, thanks for subbing. Shout out to Daisy, one of the newer members. Altanian Splash, obviously, for everybody sticking through it. Shout out to the casters, NGS, Murda, for being the div mod. He's been super helpful. I think that shout out to Wildheart and McNulty for being flexible with the scheduling and stuff.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for joining me. Have a great night. Don't forget to report your match. Obviously, it makes everybody's life a little bit easier. And
Sure.
good luck with the rest of your season.
Thanks a lot, man. I'll catch you later.
Right on. All right, and so that's going to wrap us up. Just the one cast for the evening. Wanted to make sure that we got, some heroic representation. We had every heroic team playing tonight, but just because of the quantity of games, there just wasn't really any significant amount of casters available for it. So, really appreciate you guys all stopping by. Melly, I see your sub. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for that. Hope you enjoy the cast when you come back and watch it. And for everybody else here, again, thanks for joining me. I'm gonna check to see. I think there's some folks that we can raid, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that in just a moment. But have a wonderful night, and keep an eye out for any other Arrow casts that might come in later in the week. That's certainly a possibility. Maybe on maybe if there's a game on Friday or something. Otherwise, probably gonna try to do some replay casts here at some point this weekend. So just saying, if you happen to know of a really fantastic replay match that should be picked up, drop me a DM. That's okay. Don't DM other casters if they don't want you to. You can DM me. All right, guys, have a good night. Thanks again. We'll catch you soon.